The dog wasn't ours. We still ran like it was. We saw the notice taped to the corner pole, where lost ads and piano lessons fought for space. The paper was crooked, held up with two different kinds of tape. One clear, one brown, like the person who put it there couldn't decide which would hold better. In the center was a photo of a small brown dog with one ear folded the wrong way. Missing. The word was written in thick black marker, not printed. The letters leaned slightly, as if the hand holding the pen had been tired or shaky. He stopped first. I almost bumped into his back. He stared at the picture. "Looks fast," he said quietly, almost to himself. The dog did look fast. Its legs were caught mid-stride in the photo, like it had been running when the camera clicked. Below the picture was a phone number, written twice. The second time the ink was darker, pressed harder, as if the writer didn't trust the first attempt to be seen. There was one more line underneath. "Please help." No reward mentioned. No date it went missing. Just those two words. We stood there longer than most people stand at a pole. A car drove past. The wind lifted the corner of the paper and slapped it gently against the metal. He spoke without turning his head. We could find it. Not dramatic. Not a question. Just a statement, like the idea had already been waiting inside him. I asked, "How?" He shrugged. "Look around." That was his answer for almost everything. We leaned closer to the photo. The dog had a dark patch near its nose. The collar was thin, not shiny. The tag was round, but the picture was too blurry to read anything on it. "Name's probably on the tag," he said. I nodded, pretending I could make it out. We didn't announce that we were going to search. Our feet just started moving. We went to the alley behind the bakery first, because dogs in stories always run into alleys. The ground smelled of stale bread and rainwater. A great cat sat on a cardboard box and watched, like we were the ones who didn't belong. "No dog," he said after a minute. His voice was flat, but his shoulders dropped a little. We walked to the park fence next. We crouched low and peered through the bars like we were real detectives. Grass. A few pigeons. Nothing else. "No dog," I said. He stood up slowly. His knees had dirt on them now. He didn't brush it off. Under a parked truck, we lay on the pavement and squinted into the shadows. Dust stung my eyes. A bottle cap. A dry leaf. Nothing moved. "Too dirty," he muttered. "It wouldn't stay here." We got up. My palms were gray with grime. My legs felt heavy already. He wiped his hands on his shorts once, twice, then kept walking. After 20 minutes, we had a rhythm. He scanned left. I scanned right. When one of us slowed, the other waited without saying anything. We didn't talk much. Searching felt like it should be quiet. Near the fruit stand, he suddenly grabbed my sleeve. Not hard, just quick. There, my heart jumped into my throat. A brown shape darted behind a stack of crates. We ran. The fruit seller looked up just in time to see two boys sprint past his oranges. The brown shape turned. It was a paper bag. The wind caught it again. It rolled once, twice, then stopped. We stood there breathing hard. He bent forward, hands on his knees. I tried to swallow quietly so he wouldn't hear how disappointed I was. He pointed at the bag. "Fast," he said with a small, tired smile. Yeah, I answered. Very fast. A woman watering flowers shook her head before we even opened our mouths. An old man on a bench said he'd seen at least 10 dogs today. None like that. A boy on a scooter yelled, "If I see it, I'll shout to the sky," and rode off laughing. Every answer felt like another dead end. But we kept walking anyway. At the next corner, he slowed down. What if someone already found it? I asked. He stopped for a second. Maybe, he said. Then quieter, but we haven't finished looking yet. So we kept going. We walked, but slower now. Our legs felt heavy, like they had carried too much hope. Sweat stuck to my shirt. My throat was dry. He didn't complain. Neither did I. We just matched each other's steps. At the next block, a brown flash moved behind a low fence. He pointed. There. We ran again. My shoes hit the pavement hard. My heart beat in my ears. The shape darted toward some bushes. We reached the fence together, breathing fast. It was a different dog. Bigger, eyes pointed up. It looked at us with calm eyes, tail wagging once, slow, polite, then turned away. He leaned on the fence, hands gripping the wire. "Wrong one," he said quietly. His voice cracked just a little. I stared at the ground. My face felt hot. "Yeah," I whispered. We stayed there a second longer than we needed to. Then we turned and kept going. A man stacking crates outside a shop saw us looking around. "You boys looking for something?" "A small brown dog," I said. "One ear folded wrong." He scratched his chin. "Didn't see that one." But a kid ran past earlier, chasing a white dog. 2 streets that way. He pointed. We thanked him and walked faster. At the fruit stand, a woman stopped wiping apples when we described the photo. She bent down to our level. "No folded ear," she said softly. "But if I see him, I'll tell someone." We nodded. Our thanks felt smaller each time. An old man on a bench lowered his newspaper when our shadows fell across it. "What's he look like?" "Brown, small, 1 ear wrong," he answered for me. The old man smiled, small and kind. "Haven't seen him. But I'll watch the street for you." We walked away without another word. The kindness felt heavy, like it made the empty space bigger. Near a small shop, voices floated out from an open door. "The little brown dog? The one with the bent ear?" We froze. Another voice said, "Yeah, came home by himself this morning." Owner called everyone. Said he just walked in, tail wagging. We looked at each other. No words. Just a quick, sharp breath. We stepped closer to the yard beside the shop. There he was, the brown dog lying in the shade under a chair. 1 ear folded wrong. A metal water bowl sat beside him, half full. His tail thumped once when he saw us, slow, calm, like he had never left. A woman came out. She followed our eyes and smiled. "You were looking for him too?" We nodded. "He slipped out yesterday," she said. "Scared us sick. But he found his own way, back this morning." She crouched and scratched behind his ear. "Thank you for searching." People told me 2 boys were asking around. We hadn't found him. Not really, but she thanked us anyway. He looked at the water bowl, not the dog. His fingers moved once against his shorts. I knew that look. It was the same one he had when we saw the paper bag roll away. "You're welcome," I said. My voice came out quieter than I meant. She waved gently. "Come by any time." He likes kids. We nodded and turned away. We walked back slowly. Steps quiet. No running now. After a block, he asked, "Still want to check the last street?" I thought about it. The sun was lower. My legs ached, but something inside didn't want to stop. "Yeah," I said. He nodded once. "Okay." We kept walking. When we reached the pole again, the paper was gone. Only 2 pieces of tape left, flapping in the wind. We stood there. The pole looked empty, but we didn't feel empty. We had looked. We had asked. We had cared enough to keep going, even when the answer came without us. He glanced at me. "Next time," he said softly, "we'll find one first." I smiled a little. "Yeah, next time." We turned and walked home. The street looked the same, but we didn't